What do developers complain about in their own like coding world?
Yeah. So a lot of times, and I think this is becoming less true, but you might have an engineering manager and they kind of know what they're doing. And you might even have a manager above that that kind of knows what they're doing. But then like all of the layers of management above that, they might have never written software before or like have no idea how to build software. And like the direction you're getting from the top is just so out of touch with reality. Like they want like all these features and all of this stuff and it needs to be done yesterday and it needs to be done so cheaply. And like it's just not going to happen. Like that's not like some of the stuff that executives ask for, the numbers they're trying to hit are just insane a lot of times. So it's just like the thing that recruiters I think have to understand when they're talking to hiring managers is that like maybe half the projects that they're working on of these hiring managers are behind schedule and over budget. Like they're just the direction they've been given is impossible to work with, and they're struggling to keep up with it. So you see people complaining all the time. Like there's a good subreddit called CS Career Questions, and people go on there and have, I mean, a lot of it's junior developers. So, but there are definitely like more experienced developers on there too, complaining about stuff. And you'll see people talking about like what happens when a project goes off the rails and everybody's working overtime and like there's no way it's going to get done and they're just waiting for everybody to start getting laid off. Like it just happens all the time in the industry. So developers they can be pretty hesitant to join certain companies, or like the reputation actually really matters.
I think that's such an interesting point, Aaron, because I mean, we deal with the hiring manager, right? Like who's probably at the top and like you said, isn't really touching the code. And how is he explaining this? He's like, oh, I just need this filled, and he's already behind budget and behind schedule, right? So
Yeah.
there's always, by the time a recruiter comes in, especially if it's an agency, they're very time sensitive and they don't want to ask a lot of questions, or they might already have this, I don't know, what's the word, this impatience
Yeah.
to the conversation already, and they don't want to explain or dive into it, and so you're quick to kind of get off the call because you can sense that impatience, but there are imperative questions that need to be asked
Oh
to
yeah.
make sure they find the right person.
Yeah, and it just depends on the organization too, especially talking to startups, like newer startups. Sometimes the people founding a company are not technical at all, and they don't even know how to build software, or they don't know how to manage a software team. Like it is
Yeah,
very
or build a
hard.
team.
Yeah, right. How to build a team. It is very hard to build software effectively. And if you've got people that just decided to slap CTO on their title, but they have no background doing that, and they're trying to start a startup, like they've got money and they want to hire people, but they don't really know what they're doing. I mean, that I feel like I see that all the time too.
Yeah. Yeah, we
That's
definitely
a
see that
terrible
too.
environment to work in if you're an engineer. Like those are the kind of environments where it always ends up becoming like a 60 or 70 hour a week thing and a death march.
Yeah. And in recruitment, that's a great conversation to have too. And the best part of it is it's a startup and we're not going to pay you really
Yeah,
good, but there's equity if
but
they
there's
make it.
equity. Right, right. Yeah, and I mean, it's you have to really make a decision if you think a startup is going to. If you're an engineer, I think a lot of times they end up hiring a lot of junior engineers because they don't understand that the likelihood of that equity being worth anything is very low. So,
Aaron, I feel like recruiters and software engineers have so much in common that we need each other, right?
yeah, yeah,
With
yeah,
our plight with hiring managers and their high expectations, we should just come together.
for sure. I think that's what I think. Like all of these tools, like Vettery and Hired, like it's great that they're trying to automate part of the process, but at the end of the day, like I think I mean, you need recruiters, you need people in the picture, because the issue is if you go like as a developer and you try to apply for job postings, you don't even know how many of those job postings are real. It's much easier to work with a recruiter who can be a buffer and know that like, oh, this is actually like a warm lead on a job. Like otherwise you're just wasting your time applying to jobs, because the likelihood that the job is real or that you get through their ATS system or any of that it seems a lot lower than if you're actually working with somebody who's like, hey, I've got this job. Do you want to send me your resume and apply to it right now?